This is NATO's most humiliating day in history. In less than half a day, the Russian military occupies Finland's Hanko Peninsula. NATO's deployed defense facilities prove useless, and Europe's gateway falls easily. Berg never imagined that the new recruit combat exercise she participated would turn into a real war. Most of her combat squad is captured, and her boyfriend has just died in battle. With enemy armored vehicles constantly patrolling the peninsula, she can only suppress her grief and hide in a civilian house with her two remaining comrades. Planning to regroup momentarily, Berg tries again to contact headquarters, but the radio remains inoperable. Suddenly, the sound of a car engine comes from outside, followed by soldiers disembarking. Jeff and Osman immediately set up an ambush inside the house, while Berg puts on a bathrobe, pretending to be the house's mistress. However, she forgets to hide her combat uniform, and the enemy immediately sees through her disguise. Realizing she's exposed, Berg decisively takes up her gun and eliminates the two remaining soldiers outside. Captain Rami's situation is equally perilous. He still can't contact the main force. He cautiously avoids enemy patrols on the streets while quickly returning to his home in town. However, his wife and daughter are missing, filling Rami with worry. Just as he's about to leave, a gun is pressed against his head.
Stop! Show your hands! On your knees!
Rami.
It turns out to be his neighbor, Henry, who has organized a resistance force with his friends after the Hanko Peninsula's fall. With his help, Rami evades enemy searches and arrives at a hidden base. Learning that Henry has sent his wife and daughter to a safe hotel, Rami finally feels relieved. The Finnish government confirms that the invaders are a Russian mercenary organization. The Finnish military receives an encrypted email claiming the mercenaries only want to lease the Hanko Peninsula, not start a war. This is clearly a delaying tactic. However, Finnish President Linnea and the Prime Minister disagree on how to respond to the invasion, and the parliament is split into two factions. One side advocates for an immediate nationwide state of war emergency, while the other proposes dialogue with the invaders before deciding on combat. Unable to reach a consensus, the military is delayed in taking action. Meanwhile, the new recruits and 10,000 residents trapped on the Hanko Peninsula face constant danger. The invaders force captured Finnish soldiers to publicly urge others to surrender. Seeing the situation spiraling out of control, Linnea reluctantly seeks NATO's help. Unexpectedly, the United States, not wanting the conflict to escalate, refuses to trigger the collective defense mechanism for Finland. With most of the peninsula's districts occupied by enemy forces, Henry and his wife decide to disguise themselves as civilians to scout the city center. Rami stays at the base, maintaining contact with them through a special radio device. As they get closer to the city center, the enemy's deployment becomes increasingly dense, with armored vehicles and missiles all in place. Rami records all this intelligence based on Henry's descriptions to deceive the public and create favorable public opinion. The enemy sends reporters to claim the area is safe. Henry's wife can't resist getting out of the car to berate them.
Fuck you!
Henry then meets other retired comrades at the dock, only to find the invaders beating Finnish police officers. They immediately draw their guns to rescue them.
Stop!
However, the opponents are professional soldiers with superior firepower. Henry can only temporarily leave his wounded comrade behind, taking cover to provide covering fire for his wife's retreat. After taking down an enemy soldier, Henry is hit by a bullet as he prepares to withdraw. An armored vehicle is approaching him. Hearing gunshots, Rami hurriedly asks Henry about the situation, but the radio falls silent, followed by an unfamiliar voice.
Your friends are captured. Surrender, or we'll kill them.